Just real quick, wanted just to say thank you to all of you who have served in the past and all the new folks who are going to serve this spring and summer. Really appreciate what you do for our community. It really means a lot. The interaction that you guys provide between both our visitors and our locals and educating them on beach etiquette, it's really important to our community, and it makes the beaches much more enjoyable for all of us. So again, thank you for all you do. Just wanted to just give you a little bit of overview about the TDC, just in case you're not familiar with what we do. We do obviously promote visitation to South Walton. That is a big thing that we do. But on the other side of that, probably a good 50% of what we do is maintain and fund programs for our beaches here. So we are responsible for code enforcement on the beach, our beach ambassadors, the beach safety program, which handles the texting for the flags, the lifeguards, we fund that program. We fund Turtle Watch and their program. So the TDC does a lot for our beaches. We also, and you'll hear a little bit later from the other staff members at Visit South Walton, and they'll go in a little more detail than what I'm doing right now. But we also maintain all the facilities, the bathhouses, the boardwalks. We're responsible for the multi-use path that everybody likes to enjoy, either walking, running, riding bikes, those type of things. So we maintain the gateways into South Walton. So like up in here, we maintain that. Landscaping, we maintain that. So there's lots of things that we do. So just thought I'd relay that to you guys so you know kind of what we're responsible for. And we also fund this program a little bit in the way of the shirts that you guys wear. And then this year we're also going to be doing some name badges. So that way it will identify you as a beach volunteer, beach ambassador, and have your name on it. So those are just kind of some of the things that we do to try to help out our community. So with that, I think, oh, you know what, I do have one thing, a little housekeeping note. If you guys communicate with us, either through text messaging or with voicemails or emails, we are subject to sunshine laws. And so anything that you communicate with us, now if you communicate with yourselves, that's fine, that's not sunshine. But if you communicate with us, then that is sunshine, and it is subject to public records requests. So keep that in mind as you correspond with us. And I'm not saying there's nothing you can't say to us, but just keep in mind that somebody can say, hey, I want to get a public records request between me and Lori perhaps. And I mean, that's the law. So that's something that we're subject to. Anyway, I think that's all I have. Are there any questions for me? I have to go volunteer over at Seaside School for their race tomorrow. So if anybody has any questions for me, I'd be happy to entertain those. And then if not, certainly the guys, as they come up, they can answer questions.
Hi, everybody! So glad to see you all here. Thank you all for coming. Lori, thank you for this program. It's a very worthwhile program. Very much needed on our beaches and in our communities. Thanks for coming today, and thank you for your commitment and your time that you're going to be spending on our beaches. You're helping to make these beaches more hospitable, not only for our tourists and visitors and guests, but for the people who live here, and also for some wildlife. My passion happens to be sea turtles. So, with that, those beaches are critical nesting habitat for our sea turtles, for shorebirds, for the beach mice. Those dunes are so critical to our property. Without those dunes, we wouldn't have a lot of properties along that beach. And it's really critical to protect all of them, and as well as the wildlife that use them. Sea turtle nesting season begins May 1st in our beaches and runs through the end of October. We work on permit with Florida Fish and Wildlife. You have to have special permits to deal with sea turtles to handle them. And we are on contract, like Jay said, with TDC. They fund us to do that job. We conduct nesting surveys daily, every single day from May 1st through October 31st, and many times beyond, depending on how late we have nesters. We're on those beaches every day at first light. We cover all of the beaches of South Walton. State parks do have their own staff that do their own nesting surveys, with the exception of one state park. We do surveys for Deer Lake State Park. We do their surveys. All of the species of sea turtles are protected under federal and state laws. All species. We have 7 species. The one that nests the most on our beaches are loggerheads. We do see some greens. We had a great year last year for greens, and occasionally we get blessed am really lucky with a very rare Kent's Ridley and sometimes a leatherback. Last year we had a leatherback in my section. It didn't hatch, but it's okay. It was amazing to know that she even came onto our nest, onto our beaches to lay her nest. It was massive. It was so big I can't even describe it. We have divided up all the South Walton beaches into 4 areas, or 4 zones, if you will. Within each zone, we have about 5 to 6 sections that are broken up. They can be anywhere from about a quarter mile long to a little bit over a mile, give or take, depending on those dune lake outflows. Those change the sections occasionally, but not by much. Every area has an area coordinator. I'm an area coordinator. And we have anywhere from 10 to 25 volunteers. And we assign those volunteers a section to walk every morning. They are out there at first light. We want to get out there before everybody gets out there with beach furniture, umbrellas, tents, sticking things into the ground. We want to get out there and make sure that we get those nests marked, stake them off. You'll see stakes like this with a little sign on it. The sign pretty much goes into detail, which I won't go into, about Florida and federal laws protecting those sea turtles. And it also has, if you've ever read it, most people don't take the time to read those, but there's a lot of information at the bottom about who to contact if you see somebody harassing a turtle or attempting to dig through a nest. Those are federal crimes, and they are punishable, and that's what all this is about. So we will stake it off with our stakes and our flag tape to protect it. We also will monitor that nest until it hatches, and then after it hatches, we will perform an excavation. We'll send data reports to Fish and Wildlife and county as well. When a walker goes out in the morning and he or she does her walk looking for those tracks, we call them turtle crawls. They're looking to see, first of all, is that a false crawl? Did the turtle just come up to the beach, decide to go back and not nest for whatever reason? It could be natural reasons, could be man-made reasons. If we can verify that she nested, they'll stake it off, tape it off, and then when the walker's finished with their walk, they will notify their area coordinator and tell them that they finished that section, and sections are numbered. I think Lori's going to talk a little bit about the section numbers they kind of adopted from Turtle Watch. Once the area coordinator receives it all clear for that section, then we will text the vendors who have signed up for those sections, as well as county officials, to let them know that that section has been cleared and that they're free to set up tents, chairs, etc. So that way we're out there hopefully before all of that starts happening. Education is vital. That's where you all can help us, and that's where we're so grateful to have you guys. I know you've all heard of Clean Dark Flat. That's kind of our hashtag. It's not just ours. Everybody's adopted it all over the world. Obviously, we want to remove all belongings from the beach before they leave for the day. Furniture, towels, toys, trash, anything on that beach that's left can become an obstacle for a sea turtle that's trying to come into nest. So we want to make sure that we give her every chance of having the clearest possible natural beach she can come onto to lay her eggs. Dark. We've all had problems with lights on the beach. Sea turtles love to nest on dark beaches. So turning off all those lights on the buildings at night, going crab hunting. Do we have any more stickers? Oh. We are promoting sea turtle safe stickers that you can put. We even have, do you all have the small little tiny ones for the
They do in
for the cell phone?
shop.
Okay. There's some small ones that also cover your cell phone lights. So when people are crabbing, we love if they would just cover their little light on their cell phones to keep that white light down. Sea turtles are very sensitive to white lights. Sometimes they will abandon a nesting attempt if there's a lot of people shining lights on her. That is actually considered harassment. So we don't want those lights on those turtles. I know it's a natural, oh my gosh, it's a nesting sea turtle, I've got to take a picture. Don't do that. Don't do that with flashes. Most of the time they nest at night, so you're not going to get a good picture anyway. But if you do that, you could possibly create a problem for her, and she may actually abandon her nesting attempt, and many times they'll go back to the water and actually have to dump that clutch of eggs, and we don't want that to happen. They also can become disoriented. Last year we had a turtle who came to the beach, tried to nest, and well, actually, she did nest, but in trying to get back to the ocean, or to the Gulf, she apparently had, that's another thing we look for. We look for signs of disturbance, whether it's by person, whether it's an obstacle. We look for lighting issues, and we have to actually fill out the reports for Fish and Wildlife and the county. So we noticed that when she was trying to get back to the ocean, she walked about 350 feet parallel to the beach. That's not normal for a sea turtle. They're trying to get back to that water as soon as they can. There were footprints on both sides, so most likely there were people who were just excited. Naturally, I would be too. It's not something you see every day. They were shining lights on her. She became disoriented and could not find her way to the water for a very long time. She ended up in Eastern Lake. So rather than going back to the Gulf, she ended up in the lake. And she was actually videotaped leaving that lake in the morning during light. So the light was up. She was out there very vulnerable on that beach. So want to avoid those lights if we can. One more thing I want to say about the stickers. We love these, but we want to be very, just want to be sure that we make it clear that this is not so that you can go turtle hunting. We are not using these so we can shine a red light on a turtle. Even those can be disturbing. No light is best, but we understand that people like to crab hunt. It's an age-old tradition. We're not going to stop that. We're not asking people to stop doing that. But just help our sea turtles and just cover those lights with the red stickers. You can also buy sea turtle safe flashlights at some of our retailers, so that would be great. Hatchlings. Hatchlings use visual cues first. When they come out of their nest, they're visually looking for the brightest horizon. Well, in a natural setting, that's usually the ocean. Doesn't matter if the moon is out, doesn't matter if the stars are out. Usually in a natural environment, the ocean is your brightest horizon. So, in a developed area, think about where they're going to go with all of those lights on the buildings, everybody's flashlights, and even sometimes during low-lying cloud nights, even city glow. City glow can actually disorient a sea turtle. So many times our hatchlings will go landward. We found them in swimming pools. Swimming pool lights can distract them. They'll cross roads. Many of them die. They don't have a lot of time to get back to the sargassum where they're safe for a long time. What will happen is they will cross roads. They'll dehydrate before they get back to the water. So it's really critical that we try and keep those beaches as dark as possible. Flat. How many in this room have fallen into a hole on the beach? I fell in 2 at the beginning of the season last year, still getting my hip worked on. It was very deep, went up to my hip. It was it was one of those that wasn't so obvious, and obviously we're out there in the morning looking down, watching for tracks. We're not literally watching for holes, although we try, but this one that I fell in was washed over. So it looked like very fine, flat sand, but it was liquid, and I was going a pretty good clip. So filling in those holes at the end of the day before you leave the beach is critical. Sea turtles have one direction. They're great in the water, but not so great on land. So they have very, very powerful flippers, and we've had them fall into holes before. We've had 250-pound loggerhead. Think about what they're going to do. So they don't have a reverse. They're going to hit that hole, and they're going to keep digging to try to get out. And what they're doing is digging in deeper. So they'll either dehydrate in the heat or they'll suffocate. Hatchlings, doesn't take much for a hatchling to fall in, even a footprint. So filling in those holes is critical. What do you do if you see a sea turtle on the beach? First thing we'd like you to do is just report any sea turtle sightings to either the non-emergency Walton County Sheriff's number, which I think Lori's provided in your booklet. It's at the back. Don't call 911. That's not a true emergency. You can also call Fish and Wildlife, star FWC on your cell phone, or pound FWC will get Florida Fish and Wildlife. And I think their number is also listed in the back. You can call South Walton Turtle Watch. I don't think we listed that number, but it's 850-897-5228. That's 850-897-5228. You can call TDC, They have our contact information. They will contact somebody and get somebody down there as quickly as we can. It's really important if you are reporting a sea turtle, get a good location. Help us out. GPS it, get an address, use an app on your phone. You can use your Google Maps. There's an app called Where My At. It will find your exact location. The yellow house in Seaside is not helpful for us to get down there. So get us a really good location if you can. That would be very helpful. If the turtle is alive, and most likely at night, it's most 99% chance that she's a nesting mom. So the first thing you want to do is don't shine lights on her. Give her a dark and quiet beach. Don't take flash photos. Stay back if you can, as far as you can, and if you'll remain really quiet and let your eyes adjust to that natural light, you just might have the opportunity of a lifetime to watch a sea turtle lay her eggs. If you're really quiet, you'll actually hear her take really deep, very exhausting breaths, because it's exhausting to drag that body up onto the sand. So listen, it's truly miraculous. Never cross in front of her when she's trying to be mobile, coming or going. Never approach her or handle her. Again, really stiff fines and penalties if you interfere with her nesting, or if you interfere with hatchlings. Thank your lucky stars if you get to see one. Not everybody gets to see a sea turtle on the beach. We have walkers who've been walking for years with us and still haven't seen one on the beach. So you're very fortunate if you get to do that. If you witness somebody harassing a turtle or interfering with hatchlings making their way to the beaches, again, call FWC, call the county, and we'll try and get someone down there if we can. Don't pick up hatchlings. If you happen to see hatchlings that are going the wrong direction, call Fish and Wildlife first, call Walton Sea Turtle Watch. Call somebody who can then instruct you as to what to do. It's very important for hatchlings to imprint on that beach. They come back to their natal beaches to nest, kind of like salmon do. Not the exact place necessarily, but their natal region. So they really need that time to walk and crawl on that sand imprint on the beaches. So it's not a good thing to pick them up and take them to the water. And again, thank your lucky stars if you even get to see a hatchling. One thing I want to say is South Walton Turtle Watch is accepting applications for water. There are a few things that are required. You have to be an early riser, very early. We do get out there at first light, and that's even before the sun comes up completely. You've got to be in good physical condition. You need to be willing to work in very hot, humid conditions. We walk in the rain. We try not to be on the beaches during lightning storms. We try really hard not to do that. So we'll carpool sometimes and work around a storm. And you have to commit to 1 day a week. I know this program is great because you can volunteer and do your work just as you're at your leisure. But we do ask that you give us 1 day a week because it's a set schedule and we need people. So you can go to our website, southwaltonturtlewatch.org, go to the volunteer tab and fill out an application. And then on the homepage, if you'll kind of scroll down, we're working on our website, by the way. Scroll down on the homepage, there's going to be a link there to the training that is required by Fish and Wildlife. It's going to be March 27th in Panama City Beach. You have to register, you can't just show up. So click on that link and register if you want to go. And I think that's it.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brian Kellenberger. I'm the Director of Beach Operations. I was told this was the first annual Visit South Walton Beer and Wine Tasting Festival. Imagine my disappointment. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right, beach operations. What do? We do beach maintenance, beach code enforcement, and the beach ambassador program. Josh Irvin is our beach maintenance manager. John Callens is our beach ambassador manager. And Jeff McVeigh is our beach code enforcement manager. He is not here today, so I'll be talking to his place after this. Highlight for the code changes for 2018. So beach code enforcement handles enforcing chapters 22 and chapters 23. Chapter 22 is waterways and beaches activities, and chapter 23 is customary use. Every year we go through a code revision process. Last year we had a pretty extensive one. We made a lot of recommendations, not all of them were taken. So I'll go over the highlights of the ones that were accepted or adopted. There were a few definition changes. First, I encourage everybody, if you've not read chapter 22, to read it. It can be found on Walton County Municipal Code. If you type in Walton County Muni Code, it'll pop up. And then chapters 22 and 23, the last two chapters. I read it front to back and try to understand it, best you can with first reading. If you got any questions, you can always call me at my office. It's on our Business Health Law webpage. Probably get this handed out to you, I'm not sure. It's 267-4578. So read those two chapters, customary use. I'm sure everybody knows what that is. So the changes that we went through were definitions, a few text changes, mainly to clear up, offer clarity or to remove ambiguity, make it easier for the code to be understood by the user, and therefore easier for us to enforce, and easier for you as beach ambassadors to convey. The next change or area was in grills on the beach. Before we had no code that addressed grills, charcoal grills, with some recommendations by the South Walton Fire District. The new code reads that there is no charcoal grills allowed, and you're allowed to have a propane or gas-fired grill of a certain size. That size is 225 square inches, and that is typically a 12 by 18 rectangle or a 16-inch diameter circle grill. So if you see grills on the beach that have charcoal, that'd be a good starting point to have a conversation with somebody about what our codes are. Next one has to do with the general public's use of the beach. Before, we didn't enforce or regulate storage of general public's beach equipment at our public beach accesses. This year that has changed. Another good talking point as you're out walking on the beach to the general public. The vendors are still allowed to store their product at the toe of the dune, either on private property or at public beach accesses, provided it is to be used the next day. So you'll probably see stacks of chairs there. Because of the way they do their business now, where they have a weekly contract or an annual contract, they meet the definition of being used the next day. We have been working hard with the beach vendor industry to self-regulate what we call ghost sets. So a ghost set is a chair that's rented, but that rentee may not necessarily be using it that day. Since they have weekly or annual contracts, they feel compelled to set it out every day. They actually are working with programs or web-based programs where they can be told by their rentee that they're not going to be there that day. And they're actually doing a pretty good job of that. So what you'll probably see this year is hopefully not as many ghost sets. You might see a little bit more product at the toe of the dune that looks like it's not being used, but it actually is being used. Tents. Last year we had a rule of 6x6 tents max size. That has changed to a 10x10, as well as a new restriction that it has to be on the top 1/3 of the beach. This is on public beaches. On privately held beaches, they're allowed to use whatever size of tent they would like, and they can put it wherever they would like. So make sure you understand that distinction. There is another thing to deal with tents, and that's part of the customary use code. Customary use in its basic form is an uninvited guest using private property in a traditional beach manner. Traditional, that code, once again, good read, not very long. There is a paragraph of inclusions and a paragraph of exclusions. The inclusions describe what we would normally accept as customary use of the beach, bathing, fishing, walking, sitting on the beach, sunbathing. Has some few descriptions of items that are allowed, and then the exclusion has some specific items that aren't allowed under customary use. One of those is you can't use tents. You are allowed to use an umbrella up to a 7-foot diameter. So last year the tent code, all things related to tent, was very hard for people to understand. The casual beach user, visitor, and it was hard to convey because there's so many different relationships of how you can use it, who can use it, where you can use it. So that's it in its basic form. 10 by 10s allowed on public beaches, max size, top 1/3 of the beach. We'll have appropriate signage out at our large regional beach accesses, probably not at our neighborhood beach accesses. We're going to rely on you, the volunteer beach ambassador, and John, the paid beach ambassador, as well as our code enforcement to help get that message across. We also are changing our signage. We have signage at the tops and bottoms of each public beach access that lists all the rules, as well as what we call beach etiquette. So there are a lot of things that aren't necessarily codified, but they're good beach etiquette. So, like holes. Who here can tell me what is the max size hole you can dig under code?
It is not.
That's right. There is no code on holes. You can dig a hole as big as you want, as deep as you want, and you can walk away from it in the afternoon. Nothing we can do about it is code enforcement. So that's why it's important that we educate our visitor as to why it's not a good idea. We thought about making some code that regulated holes. Our neighboring county had a public relations nightmare by arresting a preacher and his son for digging a hole that was bigger than the code that they allowed over there. We did think about ways to minimize holes. That was through limiting their digging efficiency, and that's where we have the no steel-bladed shovels. And so that's another good section to read. It's 2254 something, but it says no steel-bladed shovels. What that meant was commercial-bladed shovel, commercial shovel. We've since learned that people can really dig a big hole with a plastic shovel. I haven't figured out why they couldn't do that. I mean, I go to the beach, I don't want to dig holes, but I've all seen them, usually it's a 10-year-old or even younger than that, just digging away, and mom and dad is, enjoying the beach. But anyway, so, those things that aren't codified, like dunes, unfortunately, there's not a code against walking in the dunes. There are some codes against destroying sand, sea oats, and sea grapes. There's not actually a code that says you can't walk in the dune. Once again, it's good beach management practice not to, and that's why you need to convey, or as much as you can, educate the casual beach visitor as to why we don't want to do that. I always have felt that a good positive contact, as opposed to a don't do that, positive contact to explain why it's not good, usually goes over better. I want to think that our casual or our everyday beach visitor wants to do what's right. They truly are ignorant of what is allowed and what is good practice. Another good thing as a beach ambassador, you can always direct people to the kiosk signage, because even though we have great intentions that they're going to stop and read that, a lot of times when they talk about, when I get the phone call of somebody telling me how I can do my job better, and they're complaining about attention from code enforcement, and they say, we didn't know. Nowhere does it say that. And so I said, well, you passed by 2 signs that said it. And so there's a lot of information on them. A lot of people don't read them, so if you can direct people to those, maybe they'll stop and read it, and if we can get it moving along, like one person learns it, they tell the next person all that. One day we'll have that elusive harmony on the beach. That's my catchphrase. Okay. One thing I forgot to mention, under beach operations, we also do all of our capital improvement projects. That is new construction of beach accesses. We have 3 new regional beach accesses under design and permit right now. One at Dune Allen, across from Stinky's, one at Miramar Beach, across from the Amalfi Coast, and one in Seagrove Beach, across from Cafe 38. Design permit takes about 8 to 10, maybe 12 months, depending on how the regulatory agencies treat us, and the construction, procurement process, construction process, another 8 to 10 months. We hope to have the Stinky's access online before next summer, and then the other 2 possibly, but they're probably under construction at that time. And then we have all of our existing beach accesses under design and permit for what I call a facelift. That's new deck boards, new handrails. We're going to standardize everything so that when you're on a Visit South Walton Park Beach access, you'll know. It's time for it too. I think the last time we rebuilt most of them was after Dennis, so more than 10 years ago. And we also do projects on the multi-use path. We have one section under construction right now from Graydon Beach to Blue Mountain Beach. We recently completed a portion from Watercolor to the west side of Western Lake. And that is what all new path will look like. 10 foot wide, all the bridges across coastal Dune Lakes will look the same. Unfortunately, where we have steel spans in place now, those will stay in place. We'll rebuild the approaches to them to be that 10 foot width. Most of the steel spans are 8 or less in width. There were some other items in the beach vending code, that's 2260, that were recommended, they were not changed. One other big item that was talked about that was not changed was what's called paragraph D8. That's up in property authorization for commercial vending on beaches that are public and are adjacent to Gulf front private property. That did not change, so be aware of that. And I hope everybody's following the customary use legislation that is going through the Florida State Legislature right now. I don't want to talk about it, but there's a vote supposed to happen on Monday. But everybody pay attention to that, make yourself aware of it, because you'll probably get talked a lot about that, regardless of what happens in the legislature coming up. And if you haven't read the bill and its amendments, I read those too. All good reading. Probably spur you on to other research that would all be good as a person on the beach, telling the beach visitor, you know, why we do things here and how we do things here and all that. Okay, we talked about tents, dogs. Dogs got to be by permit, they got to be released, they got to be here in a certain time. Central Daylight Saving Time is 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next morning. And under Central Standard Time, it is 3 p.m. until 9 a.m. And so next Sunday, we start Daylight Savings Time. So the new hours will start 4 in the afternoon to 8 in the next morning. Last year, dogs were one of our largest code enforcement items. I think we had, that number, John? 2,400? No, 1,900 dog contacts? It was in the high 1,800s or 1,900s. I think it broke 2,000.
Yeah.
The good thing about it is that, well, I won't say good. More than often they were compliant, and so dogs are a very popular item on the beach. They're also a very popular complaint generator. Not everybody likes dogs. A lot of people do like dogs, and what they like to do is they like to take their dogs to a coastal dune lake outfall, which is probably the worst place to let a dog run. So learn the dog code is 2231 in your municipal code, and make sure you're conveying that one correctly. And once again, if you got any questions on any of these codes, give me a call. We had to explain to them, or stop your friendly beach code enforcement officer, and he'll be glad to explain them as well. Let's see, unruly behavior. Typically anything that is criminal in nature, so trespassing, underage drinking, fighting, stuff like that is a Walton County Sheriff's Office responsibility. We can obviously, with our badge and a bit of authority, quell or help stop any issues, but we don't have arrest powers. And so if you see something like that, probably best to call 911 first, and then call us or communicate through our online complaint form. So how do you communicate with us? Of course, you can stop us on the beach. If you see a non-compliant item and you've already talked to the people, you feel like that they've now understood, great. If you feel like they've not understood, we have an online complaint form. You can go to our website, and on the front page there's a Be Safety tile. Click on that. It'll take you to a page. You can go to Beach Code Enforcement and click on its tile, and it takes you right to the form. I like to recommend everybody to go ahead and put it on your phone, so it's one click away, and it's got a few fields you got to fill out. You can attach some pictures, you can tag the location, and that goes straight to all of our code enforcement officers right then. Whoever is working that zone at that time will pick it up, We put it in our system in queue. We're not dispatch oriented. And we prioritize our complaints by proximity to where we are and severity of what they are. And so that is absolutely the best way to do it. One is it goes straight to us. The second is it helps us capture the information that we compile at the end of the year, and then that's how we develop code revision recommendations as well as requests for more resources. And so texting, picking up the phone, not the best way, because whoever you get's going to say we have an online complaint form and direct them to that. But there's a way to do it. Get it on your phone, one click away, and it's very good. It worked so good last year that in 2016 we had 158 verified complaints. Last year we had 843. So I expect to have twice that this year. And that means the system's working. So use that. I think that's it really.
Josh Irvin, and this is James Kane. I'm the beach maintenance manager here for the Tourist Development Council. Some of the things we're responsible for are the beach bay and lake accesses. We have about 62 of those. All the facilities that come along with, all our bathhouses, this facility, a number of other inland facilities, we're also responsible for maintaining. The Leave No Trace program, which we actually start tonight, is something that we're also responsible for. Speaking of Leave No Trace, if you could please help us educate the beachgoers on the importance of removing those items. It does two things. It obviously removes those obstructions for turtle nesting, and it also removes the items that we would eventually have to collect ourselves. So if you guys could help us with that, it would greatly benefit a lot of people, including marine life. So that starts tonight. We work 7 days a week. 363 days a year. The guys typically take off on Christmas and also on Thanksgiving. But other than that, we're pretty much there. We work from 6 in the morning until 4:30 in the afternoon. Our Leave No Trace starts at 10 p.m. and works through the morning. Normally ends up about 6 to 7 o'clock in the morning. So all those items are collected. They're then recycled up at the landfill. So some other areas, a multi-use path. We're responsible for maintaining that. As Brian indicated, we're also responsible for all the capital improvement projects. We've got roughly $8 million worth of capital improvement projects either under construction or under design. So we're very excited about those. Definitely excited about the multi-use path. I know it's been somewhat of an inconvenience for some, but unfortunately progress is sometimes painful. So you just have to bite the bullet, so to speak, and get it done. But I think the outcome of this project is certainly going to be worth the inconvenience and the wait. So we're estimated to be done with that around the middle part of May. So right before Memorial Day and the kickoff of summer, we'll have a brand new 10-foot wide path with 3 new wooden pedestrian bridges between 83 and 283. So definitely looking forward to that. As far as holes are concerned, that's always a hot topic. We got a lot of calls last year from you guys, from the public, about holes. And so what I always recommend as a gauge before you call us, if it's big enough for us to drive our vehicles into it, or for someone to be laying in or fall in, definitely call us. But if it's small holes, if you guys could help us, I know Lori has one of these neat shovels here. You guys could use to help fill those in. We simply just don't have the resources to chase down all the holes. As you can imagine, kids, they go out there and they dig holes and they leave them, unfortunately. And so, we would love to go out there and fill all those holes in, but the reality is we'd be there all day, every day, doing nothing but filling holes. We have, on average, about 600 tons of garbage that we get off the beach every year. So if you can think of that in terms of how long it takes us to do that just on a daily basis during the summertime, it's an all-day affair, it really is. And so the holes is kind of an afterthought. We will come out and help, especially those that are hazardous, i.e. drive a vehicle into at night with our Leave No Trace program. For some reason, people like to hide in those at nighttime. We've actually had a couple of different situations where we were traversing across the beach trying to remove those items and saw someone laying there. So fortunately, we were able to see them before we drove over. That would definitely not have been a good outcome for either of us. So we're here to help, and we're very thankful and appreciative of your efforts because, again, what you do out there on the beach has an effect not only on the beachgoers, but it also has an effect on us from a beach maintenance perspective. So thank you all, and my contact information is there on the table out front. Same office number that Brian provided, 850-267-4578. someone is there to answer that phone Monday through Friday. If you call on a Saturday or Sunday, you will get a voice message. Feel free to leave a message. We'll be sure to give you guys a call back on Saturday or on Monday. I also have my mobile number and email address on that card. Feel free to send me a text, phone call, email, however you like to reach me. Again, what Jay provided to you, we are subject to public records requests, so think about that as you're communicating with those three meetings. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those for you. If for some reason you leave today and think of something, feel free to call me or email.
My name's John Callens. I'm Walton County Tourism Development Council's beach ambassador. First off, before I get started, is there anybody here that needs anything? Water, snacks, or anything? Okay, well, I wasn't getting you anything. I was just, I just want to know who I was going to be pulling up here. I'm not going to take very long. It's just going to be a couple minutes for me. I'm not one of these guys that's going to speak so long you'll get frequent flyer mileage from Amex or something like that. But I do have a little bit to say here. Beach ambassador. Catching a tan, talking to good folks, getting a little exercise. What a horrible job. Horrible job. And I get paid for it. So it's a great job, actually. Our purpose, Brian touched on this a little earlier, is we go out there, it's exactly as it says, it's an ambassadorship. We go out there and we produce, we do our best to produce harmony and goodwill on the beach. We answer questions, provide information to educate people. The number one question, who would think what the number one question is on the beach that I get out there? Anybody got any ideas?
Sea turtles.
Sea turtles? That's good.
How do you get your sand so white?
Sharks.
How do you get the sand so white? There's another group, sharks. What is a beach ambassador? Number one question. My answer is, I don't know. You know, I tell them what we do. Second question. Anybody got an idea about the second one? What's it? Good restaurant. That's a good one too. Second question is, how do I get that job? That's the second most popular question out there. We employ a staff of about 3 to 5 every year. A couple of permanent positions and a few seasonal positions. We're getting ready to hire some for that, as a matter of fact. We go through a lot of training, as you all do. Lori does a great job. You'll learn a lot from her in your training. We're heavy in training on county codes, ordinances, and state statutes. You know, we learn a lot about that. Brian is a great mentor on that. And if he feels like you're slacking, he'll certainly throw a pop question at you to make sure you're up on it. We train in marine life, wildlife, same as you guys do. We'll go to seminars and we'll go to little courses and get credit units and things of that nature. We're trained in approaching and interacting with the public. We're trained in public communications. Our duties is basically we just engage the public on the beach and sometimes not on the beach and provide information and answer questions. I've been in the Publix, you know, trying to get my dinner and somebody who knows who I am walking about, hey, by the way, this customary use, you know. I'll answer questions about that. We also help out the other entities on the beach that operate, the South Walton Fire District. We help the beach safety folks. We help deputies, code enforcement, do their job. Some of them think of us as the passive enforcement, where we spread the message just the same as they do and try to get compliance just through word of mouth. We do administrative things. We provide reports to operations, Brian and them. We maintain an accounting of the contacts that we make throughout the day, and so that he can produce his reports and stuff. We also file reports to him. Our hours of operation generally are prime time. We'll get started about 8 a.m. in the morning, and we'll shut down about 6 p.m. outside of a special event or some special circumstance where we have to get back out there and maybe help monitor the turtle goings on, stuff like that. Our tactics, we'll set up stationary or static posts at regional accesses. Sometimes they're larger accesses, boardwalks and stuff. And we'll also be mobile up and down the beach in a linear fashion, up and down the water line. Our method of transportation is foot, or sometimes ATVs, sometimes trucks. We'll use the ATVs to navigate teams up and down the beach, and then once they're at a spot, they'll split up and they'll work the beach, usually individually, talk to people, answer questions and stuff. We use UTVs, also utility vehicles, and those are generally used when we are static somewhere, stationary somewhere, and we want to make some presentation or hand some things out. Maybe a special event or something, you know, where we're doing stuff there. Some of you might have some questions about the differences between, you know, what the county's beach ambassadors do and what you all do. One major difference is between me and you guys is I get benefits. Really, because we're county employees, we may have more resources than you guys have. There may be a different line of communication for us that we'll have with some of the other departments. Our tactics may be a little bit more detailed than what yours will be. But all in all, we're all going to share a common goal out there, and that's to help Brian maintain his blood pressure and bring harmony on the beach and enjoy the beautiful white beaches and stuff like that. So.
Our representative from South Walton, from Walton County Sheriff's Office, couldn't make it today, so I'm going to fill in the best I can for them. The Sheriff's Office, like I said before, handles issues that are criminal in nature on the beach. They can handle codes as well. They kind of rely on our department to handle that, so they try to take care of other business. So things that are criminal in nature, of course, public drunkenness, underage drinking, fighting, trespassing, any other thing like that. Of course, they also have a dispatch center that is open 24 hours a day. And so our code enforcement department covers the beach from 5:30 to 11:30 in the evening, 5:30 in the morning, 11:30 in the evening. It has a different amount of code enforcement officers during the day. So if you see something, you can't get one of our guys, that's just to call the sheriff's office. They have, of course, 911. They also have a non-emergency numbers. There's 2 of those. It should be in your pamphlet there. You know, I don't know how much criminal in nature items you will see on the beach. As a beach ambassador, I would predict that most of the stuff you see would probably be of a non-emergency type. So you know, keep those numbers in your directories and have them handy. Once again, they're gearing up for the spring break season, which really started this weekend. We got a few people filtering in during the week. They do a good job of keeping the beaches in good harmony in regards to spring break activities. We don't have too much of the spring break issues down on 38. Most of that is contained down in Miramar Beach. And the sheriff does a wonderful job of letting people know in advance that if you come to our beaches, we expect you to remain compliant and within the law. If you don't, you get a ride on the county bus to the county motel. And but like I said, it does a good job. They get it out to the schools. They let people that will be coming here know what they can expect. They also keep good peace and harmony in the neighborhoods around the beach. So Sheriff Atkins and his group does a great job. We work real close with them on anything they need. They work real close with us on anything we need. All of us work together good with South Walton Fire District and all their needs. So if you get one of us and another agency is needed, we can usually quickly get them there. It works all the way around in that triangle. Like I say, just, you know, once again, make yourself aware of what's county code and what is Florida statute in regards to what would be considered not acceptable beach behavior, and understand which agency to call in the event you see something like that.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sammy Sanchez, Fire Marshal, South Walton Fire District, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about some of the things that are important to us here in South Walton and some of the things that fall under my purview. One is bonfires. As most of you know, South Walton allows bonfires on their beaches. We're probably one of maybe 2 counties that allow that. Bay County just started not too long ago. And in doing so, we try to have a really good relationship with the TDC as well as with our Turtle Watch friends, because we do take that very seriously. All bonfires have to be permitted through the South Walton Fire District. It's a $50 non-refundable permit, and you can obtain it here at the South Walton Fire District. We are working towards in the future of possibly creating an online capabilities for that, but as of right now, you have to come in, or you can call and get your permit. There's various accesses where these are located at. The one thing that's most important to you folks is remember this, is that anytime we have a turtle nest, an active turtle nest, we don't issue any bonfires within 200 feet of the nest. If you should encounter that, it is important that you contact either the TDC code enforcement. You can contact us direct if it's during the work week, or you can contact the Sheriff's Department. That's an absolute no-no. We don't allow that. We make that very specific when we do issue the permit, that they are not allowed near a turtle nest. That's probably one of the most important pieces of the bonfires. That, and obviously you can't set your bonfire on the sand, directly on the sand. It has to be in some sort of container. So if you come across any of those 2 violations, please notify somebody as soon as possible. We do have the right and the ability to find that person, because we capture all their information when they register for the bonfire. So we do have the ability to find them. We also have the ability to not issue the permit. I mean, that's at our discretion. So if we encounter someone that violates one of these 2 sacred laws of ours, then they will absolutely not get a permit in the near future until they have met with me in person. We've done it to some vendors, and we've done it to locals, not locals, but just to regular customers. So the rule applies to everybody, and so does the punishment, so to speak. So again, if you have any bonfire questions, call us here directly. We are the sole permitting agency, and it's a little bit of a process to get a bonfire permit. We just don't hand them out. In case you're wondering, we are responsible for that whole permitting process. So if you have any questions, call us. But just to reiterate, any violations, please contact the TDC, especially after hours, because they're probably more than likely going to be the ones out on the beach. One other thing that we also are responsible for in South Walton is fireworks. Now, there's a big misconception about fireworks, because people think, hey, I'm on vacation, I can come down to the beach and launch them off the beach. It's not a big deal. Well, it is a big deal. First of all, they're considered illegal by the state of Florida. If you'd like to know which ones are legal and which ones are illegal, and you have a lot of time to read, you can visit Florida Statute 791, and it basically breaks down what they consider illegal and illegal firework. But I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. An illegal firework is anything that launches in the air, anything that goes boom, or anything that explodes is considered an illegal firework in the state of Florida. So you're probably asking yourself, what about all these fireworks I see on 4th of July? Well, the truth is that they're probably being brought in from other states, and it's very difficult to control, especially when you border when you border Georgia and Alabama, where fireworks are legal. It's easy for folks to bring them in. So we do have, as a state, we have a difficult time in controlling that, but they are still considered illegal. The biggest problem with fireworks is there's a loophole in the state statute. And the state statute basically says if you're going to use fireworks for mining or agriculture use, you can purchase these type of illegal fireworks. Now, the truth of the matter is most people that buy them here in Florida are not using them for that. But they sign a waiver and they think that everything is okay, and the truth is the matter, it's not. They're still considered illegal. The problem with that is the enforcement of that, and that seems to be really the biggest concern that we have, is because we can't catch everybody and it's difficult to enforce. So if you do see somebody launching fireworks, law enforcement is your best bet, because they are responsible, according to state statute, they are responsible for the enforcement part of this state statute. The only fireworks that we do permit are typically commercial, professional grade firework display shows. On July 4th, we will have anywhere between 5 to 7 firework displays. They all are commercial, professional grade. they'll have to receive a permit through this office. We are the sole permitting agency for fireworks in South Walton. So it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. If you're going to put on a show, you have to come get a permit from this fire district. And there are specific requirements, such as having a low explosive ATF license, insurance, a site plan. I have to visit the area that you're going to launch from. So again, it's not just, hey, here's your fee and here's your permit and have a good show. It's a little bit more involved. But I mention all that because July 4th is pretty busy on our beaches. And if you do encounter fireworks, again, I urge you to call the sheriff's office because they are the enforcement agency for fireworks. Along those lines with fireworks is one that often gets misinterpreted or gets confused as not being a firework, and that's a sky lantern or Chinese lantern, as they're often called. Those are actually considered an illegal firework as well. Florida statute reads, anything that is propelled by flame is considered an illegal firework, and that's what these are. These are basically hot air balloons propelled by flame, and they are considered an illegal firework. And the reason being is there's several reasons. One is they're controlled by the wind, which we have no control over. That's how they're steered. Two is you don't know where they're going to land. And three is they don't always extinguish when they land. And our area is surrounded by 50,000 acres of wildland forest. And the wind currents are subject to take them into the woods, and we will never know if a fire occurs until it's too late. So those are a lot of reasons why they're considered illegal, especially here in South Walton. So again, it doesn't matter what you saw on TV or who else allows this. They're not allowed here in South Walton, even if you launch them from the beach. And not to mention the mess that they make when they land. And then finally, what I'd like to talk about is one of the services we provide here in South Walton. For those that may not be aware of this, South Walton Fire District covers 84 square miles, which includes 26 miles of beach. We provide all the fire protection and EMS protection services for South Walton. So if you're on the beach, you're patrolling, you're going through the beach, and you encounter a medical situation, your best bet is to immediately dial 911. And if there's a lifeguard nearby, contact them. They do have some equipment with them. They can provide CPR if need be, and oftentimes that seems to be the case. But your best bet is dial 911. Look for a lifeguard if available, and if not, if there are no lifeguards available, know where you're at. That is, I can't emphasize enough the importance of knowing where you're at. You just can't say, I'm in Blue Mountain Beach. That's a big area. Try to be specific. Try to give that dispatcher as much information as possible, because when we get the call, all we know is there's a medical on the beach in Blue Mountain Beach. So that's a lot of area to cover. So try to give us as much information, a landmark, an address if you see one. That will be very helpful. But most importantly, the biggest thing out of everything is to dial 911 and ensure that somebody is on their way.
So we are beach safety, education, and prevention. We are funded by the TDC. We have 14 towers, 10 of which are funded by the TDCs and are located at the regional beach accesses. We also have 2 at Rosemary Beach and 2 at Sandusky. And the reason for that is stop sign theory. Everybody basically know what that is? People had to die on those locations because we were too far away, and those properties realized that they needed the type of protection that we can provide. So we've grown. And so we're not uniformly distributed. If you look at the county of the map, one of the limitations is we can place towers and lifeguards where the TDC and or these property owners have jurisdiction over the property. So we're spread out. So for instance, between Tower 3 at Rosemary Beach and Bramble Grove, there's almost 7 miles of uncovered beach. However, we do respond to anything on the 26 miles. We are not limited to our contract. Our contract really literally only has us covering about a half mile, including the 2 private contracts. We're really only covering a half mile by our primary zones. But we respond to everything on the 26 miles. We just started on the 1st, so this Thursday we started our season. That will go through the end of September. Hopefully we will extend that through October and maybe even get some year-round presence, because as you all recognize, those of you who live here for a long time, you know that the shoulder season is pretty much gone. Yeah. That's a good thing. I mean, it cuts both ways. All right. So we're hoping to expand to provide more coverage for that moving forward. So we started our season, we're out there every day from 10 o'clock until 6 p.m. We have a skeleton crew every night on call, myself, my 2 supervisors. We'll respond to anything after hours. We also do, during the busy parts of the season, we keep people on, we bring them in early, and we keep them a little late, especially when the weather and the surf is really bad. So we're flexible like that. I want to encourage every one of you to approach our lifeguards. Be bold. Our lifeguards are larger than life personalities, and we've got some very unique individuals. And I want you to talk to them, get familiar with them. They're good people. The most important thing, who here is unfamiliar with the beach flag system? Anyone? Beach flags. Okay, think of it as like a stop sign. Green is go, yellow is caution, red is swim if you're stupid, which is, I don't mean to be crass, but that's the simplest way I know how to put it. Swim if you're stupid. Double red means the water's closed. That's the point where we look at it and we say, no person should be in that water. I don't want my guards in that water. No one should be in there because at that point it is not a possibility of grievous bodily harm or death. It's a probability. The probability skews towards a preponderance of something bad's going to happen if you get in the water. I don't care. Best line I ever heard during a double red flag is a guy came up to me and, I'm from the East Coast and this isn't that bad. I said, cool. I still can't get in the water. He says, I got a black belt in karate. That changes everything. Seriously, he started facing me with that. It was mind-blowing. That was years ago, but that's still my standout moment. And he meant it. I black belt. I was like, go get your chin chop on it. So that's the kind of thing we're dealing with sometimes out there. I would say 90% of the people that we deal with, even during red flags and double red flags, most people are grateful and they understand what it is we're trying to tell them. You will get a small minority of people who have paid their money and will be darned if they're going to be told what they can or can't do. We have a higher end clientele that comes through Walton County, and they are all sunshine and rainbows when messaging is to their liking, but with some higher end clientele, you tell them they can't do something and the switch gets flipped. You will encounter some of that attitude out there no matter what issue you're discussing, and you will develop tactics to deal with that with great decorum, I'm sure. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. So another thing I could tell you is you will never see me fly a green flag. And there are drawbacks to that, but I'm going to tell you why. Our agency is a lifeguarding agency. We are a member of the United States Life Saving Association. That is a certifying agency for almost all major lifeguard programs anywhere in the continental U.S., which is also a subsidiary of the International Life Saving Association. Their stance is when it comes to open water, i.e. oceans, there is never a green flag situation because things are so dynamic out there. Moreover, in our particular situation in the county, we have 26 miles. We are not going to fly different flags at different parts of the beach. Conditions can be wildly different sometimes. It's because the weather is dynamic here. A lot of the spring, it'll be 2 feet on the east side over by Alice Beach, and it'll be flat as a pancake over at Miramar. I'm still going to be flying red flags because I fly to the lowest common denominator. Because a lot of people who are coming from all over the southeast and from even up north, a lot of them have never seen open water. And they have no idea the power of the ocean. And we joke that this is like Mexico most of the time. But our sugar white sand, when that surf gets moving, it makes for rip currents. And rip currents are the most dangerous thing out there. I'll get into sharks in just a minute because that's what everyone cares about. And you're going to get a billion questions about it. And I'm going to give you some talking points real quick. Rip currents and lightning are what kill people out here. People panic and give them rip currents. So, long story short, I will not fly a green flag out here. Maybe a day in December when there's literally nobody here and it is flat as a pancake and I got a gentle north breeze.
On his birthday.
So you may get some questions about that and you may have your personal feelings about that. Some people have posited to me and we've chewed on it very hard that, well, if you never fly green, then the yellow starts to mean less. Yes, but we still reinforce this is open water. It really does segue into a good talking point that you can never turn your back on Mother Nature out here. And yellow it's always exercise caution. Be safe out there. Also, on the double red flag point, when we close the water, we are not closing the beaches. Make sure you understand that because it has caused a media firestorm in the last couple of years where we closed the water, and even a couple major media outlets said, beaches are closed. That causes a ripple effect that is bad for businesses, so we got hotel chains calling us, people demanding refunds and whatnot because our beaches are closed. No, when we fly double red flags, the beaches are not closed, the water is closed. You can go out and sit on the beach, and when people out there and they start creeping towards the water, we say, "That, don't touch it, don't even look at it." We're not that hard about it, but we have a dry sand policy, and the reason for that is the cascade effect. If we let you put your toes in the water, the 6,000 other people on the beach, we're all going to be standing at the water's edge getting our toes wet. And then creep in, we're all of a sudden, and the way the double red flags and high surf here is, the waves are hitting you in the knees, one rogue set comes in, boom, blast you, whoop, you're off your feet, you're off to the races, you're halfway to Cuba, we got to go get you. In conditions that, like I said, I don't even want my guards in. So we just tell people dry sand. It's hard to enforce. It's hard to get people to buy in. We have to tell people multiple times. We have to get code enforcement. We have to get Walton County Sheriff's involved to write tickets. Repeat offenders get to spend the night in, it's not the Crestview Hill, the Defuniak Hill. So, let's see, what else can I tip on really quickly? Any questions? Surfers have an exemption. They can be as dumb as they'd like. I was part of the contingent that fought for that. Because red flags and double, usually when it's double red, it's a hot mess out there. Those aren't clean sites. But they're allowed to go out there, and we do reserve the right to, because Walmart has started selling their $100 surfboards, we do invoke the right to call kook status on someone. So just because they have a leash on it, if we go out there and we see they're in immediate danger to themselves or others, i.e. our rescue personnel, we'll pull that card and say, you got a surfboard, but you're not a surfer. So if you see a surfer out there, we get that a lot too. How come you can be out there? Because he's crazy but skilled. And there is some subjectivity to that, and there is a discretionary call on our part, but the surfers do have an exemption in the ordinances, which we're very grateful for. Saves a lot of money. Other talking point strategies for you out there. Sharks. I'm going to throw some statistics at you real quick. It's a good talking point, and it's good for your own peace of mind, and I'll probably eat these words because of them. In 119 years of record keeping in Walton County, and more around the entire Panhandle, we've had one shark attack fatality. That was in 2005, over at Camp on the Gulf, where a bull shark took a bite out of a young lady's leg, severed her femoral artery, she bled out. And it wasn't a case of vicious bull shark attacks and mauls and devours young lady. It was a case of an exploratory bite gone wrong, and she was really far out, and that's 1 in 119 years. The next stat I want to throw at you. Anyone know how many people we had on our beaches last year? Just last year?
2 million.
4 million people on our beaches last year. It's supposed to be more this year. So do a little quick stats in your head. Almost, I would say, let's call it even 60% of those people were in the water at some point. I tell people you are far more likely to become maimed, injured, or worse trying to walk up that boardwalk or pull out the parking lot than you are to deal with the shark. I personally calculated over the last 14 years, I have calculated over 700 hours of my personal time in the water, surfing, swimming, training. And I always think about it, but I've never really had an uh-oh moment with any marine life out there, other than getting blasted by jellyfish on the regular. I can wear those things like hats now. My immune response is strong. But jellyfish, rip currents, lightning, heat exhaustion, poor nutrition, failure to take medication, those are the things that really get people out here. We typically do about 100 full-blown EMS response water rescues per year. We do about another 800 where we pull people out of water and don't have to call EMS. We do about 100 major medicals, everything from diabetic episodes to strokes to full-on cardiac arrests to, we shocked a guy back to awake last year, that was pretty cool. Put the AED on him, psst, he actually woke up, which is unheard of, really cool, happened out of Rosemary. So our guards are out there and we do handle a lot of medical calls, and you may handle medical calls and or see situations that make you go, what do you do? 911. When in doubt, call it out. That's my simplest message to you guys. If you're anywhere near a lifeguard stand, start dialing, be on the phone with 911, waving down the lifeguard, let the lifeguard know, then switch to camera mode and start your viral video. It's got to be in that order though. People tend to want to do the viral video part first and then commentate why isn't anybody helping. So, I actually had that happen out here. So, those, I think those are the main points. Questions, concerns?
Well, David, we thank you. We thank you very much.
I do want to leave with you guys. We're working together. You guys are really helping us out. We've got a really good relationship with the TDC, Walton County Sheriff's Office, and what you guys are doing out there. You're helping us. We're all selling safety and a good time. We're literally helping people have fun. It's the greatest use of time I can think of living in this place. So enjoy yourselves. Have fun.